All right, welcome to Sunday Funday. Hope everyone's had a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Hope I'm looking beautiful here among these flowers. And our theme tonight is beautiful. And we'll get into that in a moment. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, give me a quick hello in the chat. Let me know you're here. Let me know you can hear me. Uh, and we'll get started here in just a moment. I'm trying something a little different tonight. I don't know how well it'll go over, but we're going to give it our best shot. So we'll see what happens. This might turn into a huge flop. I have no idea, but we'll find out. Um, all right, not seeing any comments yet, so I'm going to give it just a moment longer. And okay, Carol, thank you. Can see and hear me. All right, so I feel better now that I know I can be seen and heard. Excuse me. So I'm having a little difficulty with my multitasking at the moment. All right, we'll try one more thing here real quick, and then we're going to talk about beauty. I may not be the right person to be having that conversation, huh? That's all right. I can get back to where I need to be. Hi, Miss Judy. Hi, Christy. Good evening. Good to see both of you. And appreciate y'all being with us tonight. Again, have no idea how long this is going to take. So I'm just going to jump right into it. And if you join in, oh, hi, Will. I missed your comments now showing up first, but I totally didn't see it until just now. I think my software here is playing with me. Carol's is the first one I saw pop in, and then now it's showing me that Will commented apparently slightly before Carol. But anyway, Carol, Will, Christy, Miss Judy, glad to see you all on here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I was the idea for tonight was came from one of the verses from this morning's passage, and I mentioned before I kind of like to tie in the Sunday Funday with what we're doing on our Sunday morning sermon series, and as I was going through that, getting things ready for the sermon series this morning, we used that passage from Psalm 90. And hope you can see this okay. If not, let me know if the text isn't big enough or whatever. I change things around with how I present it, and can certainly move that. But see if I can see that. I can't see without my glasses. Without my glasses, you can see my eyes better. I get a lot of glare on these glasses, and haven't worked out the lighting in here yet to be able to negate that. But this morning we saw that passage, it's Moses' Psalm 90, and obviously I chose that passage this morning for us to look at and talk about, because it's talking about the Lord establishing the work of our hands, the things that we're doing, the works that we are a part of, Him being the one to establish it. And that's why I chose that passage, because Moses seemed to be agreeing here with the writer of Psalm 127. But as I read that passage, the part that really jumped out to me, it says, "Let the beauty of the Lord our God be upon us." And that to me just really spoke. Like the fact that you think of the beauty of God. We don't think about that very often, right? We think about His power. We think about His holiness. We think about all these different things, but we don't often think about His beauty. And obviously we haven't seen Him, so I guess that's probably one reason we don't associate that word so much, is because we associate things, beautiful things, with things we can see to determine if it's beautiful or not. But hi, Darlene, good to see you as well. But what we do know about God and what we have seen about Him is His creation, and He's revealing Himself to us through that. And so it's not hard to imagine the beauty that is God. I mean, we know the description that Isaiah gave us in Isaiah chapter 6, when he mentions standing there before the throne and just trying to convey the awesomeness that he was seeing, and trying to put it into words. We see John, struggling for the name there, John writing the book of Revelations and seeing these things, even descriptions there of God's throne and where He's at, and almost getting the sense that He's having a hard time putting this into language that we can understand. That description of heaven that He gives there, the new heaven, and the descriptions He gives of the gates that are like pearls, and all the different layers of different gemstones. He's trying to give us something that we can grasp a hold of, because I'm sure it's just something that's beyond his comprehension. That's the way I imagine it is for God. His beauty is probably beyond anything we can conceive, but I believe he's given us hints in the beauty that's all around us. I chose the flowers there for this particular thing because that's one of the things to me, the landscapes that we see. Nature shows us God's beauty and just the way he created all of that. And as I was thinking about that, as our theme for tonight is that of beauty. And we're going to get to a passage in Ecclesiastes that talks about God making all things beautiful in his time. And but I thought as we would do kind of the fun part of this is I would test your knowledge of art. Art is one of those things that can be subjective. What one person thinks is beautiful, another person may think is just a scratchy mess. And so that's why I thought it'd be kind of fun to take the art angle on this, because certainly in terms of the term beauty, we have a lot of different views on that, right? I may show you something, you go, oh, that's beautiful. And somebody else looks at it and goes, that doesn't make any sense at all to me. And that's just one thing I love about art in general, whatever form it is, whether it's with visual art or writing or music, is that it can say something to one person while not even speaking to someone else. So that's to me the part of the beauty of it. But what I want you to do is we're going to go through a couple of paintings here. I tried to pick some of the, I used a website that had an article about some of the most famous paintings in the world or in history. And so I used some of those, trying to think this might be things we're familiar with. So some of these will be easy, I think. But I'm going to ask you when I show the picture, you can just type in your answers, your guesses, your thoughts. I wanted to know a couple of things. One, I want to know what the painting is, if you know what it's called. I want to know who painted it, if you know that answer, who the artist was. And then lastly, I want to know, do you love it, hate it, or don't really care one way or the other? All right, so you go ahead and give me whatever piece of those information you want to give me, and we'll just keep going here. So first one, try to start us off pretty easy here. And I see my slides aren't changing. Oh, there we go. Slides are changing now. What is this artwork? This one threw me off because it's in the portrait form there. So I tried to fit the whole thing in. Had to put those little bars around the side to make it fit my slide presentation. But what is this painting? Who is it by? And or you love it, hate it, don't really care one way or the other. What's your thoughts on this painting? If I don't get any answers soon, I'll go ahead and give the answers. I always hesitate to speak too soon because sometimes I just don't see the answers for a while. I don't want to take your fun if you know the answer. I will tell you it was painted between 1503 and 1519. So sometime back in the early 1500s. I will tell you it's also on display at the Musée du Louvre in Paris. Or just for us, the Louvre. All right, so Miss Judy, yep, it is the Mona Lisa. Will gave us both of them, so I'm going to give Will credit here. He gave me all three answers I was looking for. He says it's the Mona Lisa by Leonardo Da Vinci, which it is correct. Miss Judy was agreeing with you there. It's the Mona Lisa. And I like Will's assessment of it. He's like, meh, it's an okay drawing, but not the best. Miss Judy getting caught by the autocorrect. Miss Judy she's got the Mona Lisa and the Nona Lisa. I know what you were saying, Miss Judy. Don't fight the autocorrect. It will only frustrate you more when you start trying to type in something and it locks in. Like, I'm not gonna let you type that word. All right. So all right, Darlene's got Mona Lisa as well. Didn't know who did it. All right. Now you do. It was Leonardo da Vinci. Famous for lots of things, painting as well as sculpting, as well as just some of his writings about the human physiology and some of his understanding there of the way our bodies were made. Pretty fascinating stuff. All right, so next artwork. Not to cut anybody off if people, I still want to know what you think about it. Will's the only one that told me whether he liked it or didn't like it. I love the meh answer. So, okay, it's a painting. It's art. Who knows what this one is? I threw this one in just because it's my favorite painting, I believe. So I had to include this one. Another one is pretty well known. This one, I believe, is on display at the Modern Museum of Art in New York, if it is still there. If not, it might be back in the, well, I can't say the name of that place because we give away the artist name. All right, Will coming in fast and furious on these. All right, I like that, Will, typing fast. It is Starry Night, which is kind of similar to what it was from there, Starry Sky. Starry Night, I think is the name of it. It is by Vincent Van Gogh. Will likes it. Yeah, this is my favorite painting for lots of reasons. Like I said here and ramble on about this painting. I won't. I think this is the Modern Museum of Art in New York, Museum of Modern Art, I should say. If it's not, it's probably back at the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, Stockholm, wherever that museum is. I like Darlene's answer. I've seen it before, don't know. So yeah, just an interesting painting. Also, if you ever get a chance just to read some of the people's interpretations of what he might have been thinking here, some fascinating stuff there. You'll notice all the yellow that's included here, then the stars and the moon, and even in some of the windows of the houses that are there. It's just interesting to see kind of where the light is, where the light is not. So very beautiful painting. He did it from memory, supposedly. This is the kind of a view, artist's interpretation. Probably, I'm sure he played kind of loosely with it, but a view from the room he had at the sanitarium when he was there for a while. He did have some mental health problems and was in a sanitarium there for a while, and this was the view he had, supposedly looking out of his room there. So anyway, I won't go on and on about that painting, even though it's one of my favorites. The next one, I only got one answer on that one. Before I go on, who else likes or dislikes this one? Anybody doesn't like it? All right, next one. This painting, it's oil and pastel on cardboard. You know what it's called, and do you know who painted it? It was painted roughly 1893. I'll give you the stats and facts that I looked up so that you have sort of the background. I don't think that ever gives it away when I tell you it was painted in 1893. At least it wasn't for me. I'm like, I don't know who was painting it then. The backdrop is supposedly, how people speculate and things come from an artist and going on down the way. But the backdrop is supposedly to be somewhere in Oslo, Norway. Even though it's obviously not painting a actual scene there, but I guess the motivation for that is supposed to be in Norway. Anybody know this one? This is a hard one. Like this one, everybody knows like the painting. You've seen this painting. I don't know what to call it other than that. But do you know the name? And more importantly, they're not necessarily important, but more difficultly, do you know who wrote it? This isn't one of those authors that are painters that really gets a whole lot of attention. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, obviously, it's a famous painting and he's well known, but it's not one that I would recognize and be able to take the name out. Don't know the title. Ooh, nice job. Will is coming in really good with these. Edward Munch. That is correct. Ed, I think it's spelled Edvard because I don't know. I guess he's from Norway and they like to switch around their V's and W's. I may have that wrong, but it is Edward Munch. Miss Judy says, I have no idea. It's often called the Scream. I guess that's what he named it, the Scream. And it does kind of seem like the character is screaming. And yes, you are correct, Will. That would make a great emoji when you want to go, ah. So yes, that is Edward Munch painting the Scream. All right, I'm not getting any answers here on you like it, you hate it, indifferent. Bill did say I don't get it, so I guess that's kind of an assessment of whether you like it or not. People aren't really wanting to share their opinions of this. It's okay to criticize popular art. Like I said before, some people find something, unique and attractive and beautiful that other people look at and go, to quote Will. All right. Nobody's sharing their opinions on these except for Will. All right, Will, I appreciate your honesty in telling us whether you like these or not. And maybe people are sharing their opinions, and I'm just not seeing those comments. If so, I apologize. All right, next one. Do you know this painting? You got the clock there kind of melted to the random table in the desert with a tree growing out of it. There's another clock on something there on the ground. This was painted in 1931, by the way, much closer to our time frame. Okay, Miss Judy said not one of my favorites. I'm guessing that was probably about the screen there. Came in, the comment came in a little bit late for me. I think that was about the screen. Anybody know what this one? I mentioned this, the two one we're looking at now was painted in 1931. So not that long ago. Trying to think what I can say without saying it is an artist. I think you'll recognize the name, but it's one of those, if you shown this to me, I wouldn't have known who it was either. It's kind of one of those, it gets talked about probably more than it is popular. Some people believe that Albert Einstein, Albert Einstein's theory of relativity inspired this bizarre piece. All right. I don't want to wait too long. I think I've got a little delay on my comments here. I do want to keep us moving along. This painting is called The Persistence of Memory. I guess that's the purpose for the clocks that are in it, trying to remember things and time. All right, Darlene, I don't know anything about art, just not my thing, even the well-known stuff. Okay, I don't know anything about it as far as this one. All right, so Darlene's just saying she doesn't know, and she's okay with that. That's fine too, yeah. So, oh, all right, well, let's see, Will's comment there either. Something about time. Salvador Dali, good job. I was about to give that away. I didn't know you were typing. Will says he likes it. Kind of like Bugs Bunny in the land of, I did not pick up on that, but that does have a very Bugs Bunny-esque feel to it, or I guess maybe the influence the other way around, but that's funny. I didn't pick up on that, but yeah, I can see that. And here's Darlene's comment I was reading off just a moment ago. Not claiming to know anything about art, just not her thing, but all right, so yeah, this was Salvador Dali, The Persistence of Memory. See if you remember that a week from now. All right. You might know what this is and who painted it. Again, another one of those famous painters. I always love that term because like they're only famous if you know them. It's like you can say they're famous, but if people that were around don't know who it is, then we don't know. This one I do know is available at the Museum of Modern Art in New York currently. Actually, with this one, there's two paintings. The person that painted this, again, try not to give away answers in case you're typing away, painted two very similar paintings. There's another one that looks very similar to this, and that people just kind of refer to them both as names. I don't even know which one this is of the two. One of those is at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. The other one is at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. In case, I throw that in there in case people want to take road trips to see beauty. That's what we're talking about. Beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. Some of these, I think, show that more than anything else. Okay. Darlene likes some math. Okay. I'll remember that. We may do some math games here in the future and put you on the spot there. All right. Will saying, never seen this one. Wild guess, but Pablo Picasso. Your wild guess is pretty good, Will, because this is Pablo Picasso. The painting is called The Three Musicians. It's an oil painting, and that's, I don't know. For me, I'm not so much into the abstract stuff, so to me, this one doesn't really speak to me. So I just find it funny that this in particular is, considered a great artwork. He completed it in 1921, so again, it's not that old. So anyway, yeah. So again, no comments yet on loving it, hating it. Let me actually ask a better way. People are saying, I'm not really gonna give a comment because I don't really know much about it. Would you put this on your wall in your house? Let me ask that question. Would you hang it on the wall? Is it beautiful enough to hang on the wall? Because there's times that I like painting sometimes that really I don't get. I don't really understand maybe, but I like the color and the just the feel of something. I'm not opposed to liking something just based on the mood of it, even if I don't necessarily know what the artist was trying to convey or if they even were. All right, next one. I'll move on. Another famous painting from history, completed in about 1665. You can find this one in the Mauritius Gallery in Hague. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Hague, Hague. Testing I generally consider myself pretty good at geography and cities and things, but Hague, I'm struggling with that one. I don't know where Hague is, or Hague. It's also sometimes been referred to as the Mona Lisa of the North, because it has kind of that same Mona Lisa-esque feel to it. The woman kind of looking at the viewer, obviously posed differently and has the different headdress there. Anybody know what this one is called or who painted it? Ooh, interesting comment from Will. Doesn't know the art title or the artist, but likes it. Gave us some input here. Great lighting. Yeah, kind of like that too. I think one of the nice things about this one, even more so than the Mona Lisa, in my opinion, just kind of the way that light hits the face, and it kind of the dark background just kind of stands out. It is I do like it in that regard. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give it, because this is a really hard one. It's not one I would have been able to name either. It's not one of those that's like just pop culture style. It's called A Girl with a Pearl Earring, and it was painted by a Dutch artist, Johan Vermeer. So again, you do see that one in your art history books and things like that. Next one, self-portrait by a painter, an artist. Anybody know who? Let's see what this is called and who painted it? Miss Judy. Yeah, I like that. I love colors and certain paint. I'm with you, Miss Judy. Sometimes the colors can totally make the painting for me. Like I may not know what it's about or totally get it, but if it's got the right colors and just kind of stands out, fits just right with the mood I'm looking for, then I can like it. I think that's one reason I like that Van Gogh painting, the Starry Night, so much. It's just the blues and all that, just really, the blue and yellow to me, just I don't know, it appeals to me. Anybody know what this is called? Who painted it? And what do you think about it? Is it beautiful? Again, we're talking beauty here, trying to decide what's beautiful art and what's not. I also just tried to throw in a bunch of well-known painters, so it'd be kind of interesting to see like how much people remember. Oh, all right, Will coming in strong with the self-portrait by Van Gogh. I tried to trick you guys by throwing a second Van Gogh in there, just because he's my favorite artist. Yeah, actually, technically it's called Self-Portrait Without Beard. And it was significant because Van Gogh made lots of self-portraits, but this is one of the very few ones where he's not wearing a beard in the painting. So yeah, this was this particular painting. Will says he would not hang this picture on his wall. It's not something he wants to look at. I'm kind of with you on that. I mean, it's good art, but it's not something I want to look at every day. But somebody apparently did, because back in 1998, this painting, the original Van Gogh painting, sold for $71.5 million. One of the most expensive paintings ever sold up to that point in time. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that none of us on this call, even if we had it, would pay $71 million for that painting, even if it's Van Gogh. Like I said, Van Gogh's my favorite artist, is what I consider him to be. I wouldn't pay that kind of money, even if I had it for that. So anyway, on to other famous painters. You might know what this is called or who painted it. This is one of those that you might know who painted it more so than you know what it's called. I would not have known the name of this. Painted in 1642. Miss Judy, yes, going back to the Van Gogh, it was Van Gogh that cut his ear off. In fact, he has a self-portrait after he cut his ear off and has the bandage over his ear. He even painted a self-portrait after that. So yes, he's the one that that cut his ear off. Like I say, he had some mental health challenges, and kind of that ultimately ended up leading to him taking his own life. Sort of a tragic thing there. But yes, that was Van Gogh. You're thinking of the right person on that last one. So this particular painting we're looking at now was painted in 1642. These were actual people that commissioned this person to paint them. Their group, their company. The French queen was coming to visit, and they wanted to show off. So they commissioned this painter to paint a picture of them. That is a militia, in case you can't see it very well. So they're in military garb, and they wanted a nice painting of them. Anybody know? Won't take too long with this one. It's called The Night Watch, as I guess they're in their military gear at night. And but more importantly, it was painted by Rembrandt. So yeah, Rembrandt's one of those others that is kind of a well-known. All right, so Will gives us doesn't know the answer to it, but would hang it in a study room. It does kind of have that historic feel to it, doesn't it? Like if you want to have kind of a intellectual, like a study room type of a setup. Oh yeah, Rembrandt. I like his realism in his paintings. You probably can't see it there with the way the resolution is and how small it is. I'll be doing on the display you're looking at, but he puts a lot of realism into his. All right, next painting. Anybody know what this is called and who painted it and how you feel about it? I'm going to keep moving here. This taking a little longer than I thought it would. I probably should have put so many of these in here. The painter that painted this painted a series of 250 pieces similar to this. Time frame 1840 to 1926. So over a long period of time. Very prolific painter. This was trying to say things without giving away who it is. I think this is one people might know. Obviously, I could have picked some more of his famous works that would have really let you know, but I like this collection. Trying to think what else I can say about it without giving it away. There's this painting, the picture he's painting here. He actually owned this garden area. So this is on his property, on his place. Darlene says, don't know, but would put this one on my house. I think it's pretty. Yeah, this is one that is very, very, I don't know, would fit a lot of areas and would look good in just about any setting, in my opinion. Andrew Wyeth, good guess there, but no, it's not. Will said he would definitely hang it up. This is called Water Lilies, oddly enough. I like the way that some artists are a little more literal. Hey, it's Water Lilies, that's what it's called. It was painted by Claude Monet. And so I don't know where you can find this painting, because as I mentioned, there's a series of them. There's 250 of these different water lily paintings. And so they are kind of spread all around the world. Different people have different ones of them. I know the Musée de Monet. I'm not very good with the French stuff. Monet Museum. I'll just translate in English. I know how to say it that way. In Paris has a good number of these as well. So you can see a lot of them together, various sizes. But yeah, he owned the garden in Da Vinci. I don't know the name there either. Another French town just north of Paris. And he had this garden area, and he would go there and paint the scenery that he saw. He had a water garden there with lots of water lilies, and so that's one of Monet's paintings. Monet being one of Christie's favorite painters. I haven't seen Christie chime in since the very beginning, but yeah, I do too. I like the Impressionism. I love that time period and just even the different varieties that were there. So, all right, moving to a different time period, different continent, different side of the ocean. Anybody know what this piece of art is called? Who painted it, and what do you think about it? I got a few more to go. Man, this is taking longer than I thought. I keep babbling on. I have no idea where this is shown. I should have looked that up. I didn't think. I was kind of running out of time as I was getting this together, and I don't know where you can find this painting. I always find that interesting, like where they are, because if I'm ever in a place that has some of these famous paintings that I really would like to just see in person, I would definitely take the afternoon and go try to. If this was in a museum and I knew I was in the town where that museum had it, I would probably try to squeeze that into a trip just to see this painting, just because it's so iconic, so everybody knows this image. I mean, it's been parodied by comedy groups, by movies, by other artists. But do you know what it's called? That's the interesting thing. I know this artwork, but I had no idea what the name was. And I had no idea who wrote it. I keep thinking of writers here. Painted it until I looked it up. So we'll see if any of you know. And more importantly, how do you like it? What do you think about it? Was painted in 1930, so again, not very old. Ooh, Darlene coming in with the knowledge on this one. The farmer and his daughter. That is so impressive, Darlene, because I always thought, like you said there, that it was a man and his wife. And as I was looking this up, I found out that this is not. It's a farmer and his daughter. Is what the author was, the painter was trying to convey. And apparently he modeled the man after his, I want to say dentist, somebody, it was some medical person that he knew. And the woman is who was like at that time, I guess 70 years old. And the woman he modeled after his sister, who was 32 years old. So in his mind, this was a farmer and his daughter. He elongated their faces, obviously, just for the effect of the painting. Very, very interesting that you knew that, Darlene. That's funny. I had no idea. Painting is called American Gothic. He got his name because that window in the back. He actually saw a house similar to what's in that painting, and it had that window that you normally don't see in a house. That was more like a window you'd see in a church. It's referred to, I guess, as a Gothic style. So he painted that house that he saw, and then put this farmer and his daughter out front with kind of these austere faces, and called it American Gothic. And he did it for a art contest at the Art Institute of Chicago, I think was what it was. He entered that art contest, entered this piece he called American Gothic. His name is Grant Wood. I don't know if I said that. I even gave you the name, Grant Wood. And he entered that piece, won the art contest, got some notoriety from it, and kind of became well known for it. People were kind of getting debated, like, what is it he's trying to convey? But at that time period, 1930, that Depression era type of thing, that a lot of people kind of took hold of this and kind of claimed it as, Americana. It's, let's just get back to our hard-working roots, and we'll live off the land, and we'll make it through these tough times, and kind of a homage there. Other people thought maybe he was making fun of the farmer life. He was from Iowa. Also read that he once took several trips to Europe trying to gain inspiration for his artwork, and one time came home on what was his last trip to Europe, came home, walked in the house, and he saw an apron this mom had cross-stitched. It was hanging on the wall, and he realized at that moment what he wanted to be, what his subject was what he knew best. That was Iowa. So he wanted his paintings to be about life there in Iowa. And so that's kind of his idea here. All right, next. I have a few more of these. I'll move quickly. Anybody know or like this one? I may have missed Will's comment on that last one. I think Will said on the last one, didn't know anything about it, but it's famous. Not sure if he'd hang that up. So I missed that comment. I agree with Will. I like that painting of the farmer and his daughter, but that's not one that I guess I would probably want on my wall either. It's interesting conversation piece. Speaking of conversation pieces and that idea that art can be attractive to some people and bewildering to others, here we have this man. This also is considered a self-portrait, although the man didn't have a apple, whatever fruit that is, for a face. I guess he just took some liberties there. He wanted to obscure himself, but it's supposedly a self-portrait of him. Anybody know what it's called, who painted it, or how you feel about it? All right, I'm gonna have to keep moving because I want to get to another part of this too. So I'm just gonna give you this one. I don't see any comments coming in quick. This is a painting called The Son of Man. Don't know why I named it that, but it's by a man named Rene Magritte. Probably said that wrong too, Magritte. Again, that was supposed to be a self-portrait with a big apple in front of his face. Anybody know who painted this one? What it's called or how you feel about it? I still have some more, I don't know, like game piece I want to try here. So we got to skip through these. This is one of the last few. Anybody just want to give me your guess on who might have painted this? I wouldn't give you the name. It's Bal du Moulin de la Gallette. Okay, I probably said that wrong too. I don't speak French very well, but that's my best Southern Alabama version of the name. When I looked up, they didn't even give me like the translation of it. If I knew what that meant in English, I would just tell you, yeah, well, I'm with you on that one. Just give the shoulder shrug. It is Renoir. That's the reason I put it in here, because people have heard of Renoir, Auguste Renoir. So I certainly enjoy his paintings. I like the kind of that feel of like the old impressionistic piece turning into a little more realistic too. So kind of that bridging that gap between not ultra realism, but a lot of detail, but still kind of having that fuzzy feel of the impressionist piece there as well. So anyway, I like the Renoir works, but I thought that was kind of a neat setting there. You got a lot of people in it, a lot of faces, a lot of interaction, makes me ask a lot of questions. And I like paintings that make me ask questions like, what are they talking about? What are they doing? What's that couple in the back doing? I kind of like that stuff that just gets your mind going. All right. You might know who painted this one. You know, that tree's not coming out of the top of the house. It's actually behind it. You probably just can't tell that because of the small it shows up on the screen here. But you know who painted this one? All right. Nobody's giving me answers here. And I'll have to admit, I was waiting to see if someone would guess a certain painter because it looks similar to. Oh, okay. Thank you, Darlene. That's what I was expecting someone to say. Thomas Kinkade. This looks very Thomas Kinkade like, doesn't it? That was the intent. So yes, it wasn't Thomas Kinkade, but that's what I expected to hear. Will says he doesn't know, but it is pretty. So at least gave me some insight onto his view of it. This particular piece I created. Okay, maybe I didn't create it, so to speak, but I used a software. It's a AI art software that you give it terminology and it creates stuff. I was talking with Will about this, so I know Will is familiar with what I'm talking about here. And it's called, just to give credit where credit's due, Midjourney. And what I did is I told it I wanted a painting of a log cabin near a lake in the style of Thomas Kinkade. And this is what the computer generated. When Darlene's making faces there, this is what the computer generated for me as a log cabin near the lake in the style of Thomas Kinkade. I thought that was pretty impressive that it could do it that well and actually make it look like a Kinkade. I'll show you a few more of my creations. I'm not doing anything obviously here. It's the artwork. It's a software. But how you like this one? It's a little kitty. And thanks, Will. It's pretty good. How you like the little kitty surrounded by flowers? The only question I have is the eyeball, or I don't know if it's an eyeball or a bug that's on that little orangish flower there. Kind of bothers me a little bit. Other than that, isn't this just the cutest little picture there? I wanted a kitten surrounded by flowers. So this is what the computer generated for me by simply stating I wanted a kitten surrounded by flowers. So would you hang that on your wall? Question for anybody. Would you put that painting on your wall? That's what we've been asking all these others. So, oh, Darlene, all right. Darlene says, love it. Yeah, okay. I got another one here to share with you that I did. That actually Katie did this one. I'm gonna give credit to Katie for this one. She started this conversation. I guess I changed the terms a little bit as we got into it. So I'll say Katie and I both created this next one. Don't have a name for this one, but this is I guess banana on a. What was the term we used, Katie? It wasn't on a bench. It was on a banana on. Maybe it was on a bench. I don't remember. With a balloon, And I kind of like this one because it has that weird Picasso. Who's the guy that did the Scream? You know, some of those kind of baffling, like what's that? Again, computer generated this one for me, so it's not necessarily my artwork. And then one more I want to show you, just because I thought it was funny. This is my creation from today. This is my Cookie Monster Bumblebee. So I've been a huge Cookie Monster fan all my life. And this is why I probably shouldn't be, probably why God didn't give me artistic abilities, because I would be painting frivolous and silly things like this. But this was what the artwork gave me for Cookie Monster. No, you know what I think I actually said was Cookie Monster in an apiary. And this is what I got. So this is my Cookie Monster Bumblebee. So next time you're at a party and you have cookies there, beware of the bumblebee. All right, what I want to do next, we're about to get into our scripture. I want to make sure we cover that. Yeah, Darlene, I agree. It makes people make stuff with the computer. You know, and the weird thing about this is I didn't have to do anything. It's not like I had to know how to do software. That's what this new software is designed to do. It's like the computer is hearing commands in English and saying, okay, if you want to see, you know, this, here's what you get. You know, that's like, this really isn't Cookie Monster in an apiary, obviously. So the computer didn't quite understand, but it's just kind of amazing what it can, like the detail it can come up with to create this artwork out of nothing. So what I want us to do next is I want you guys to give me a couple of ideas here of what we can create. What kind of painting do we want to make here on the Sunday Funday live stream, and then we'll start it to make. Then we'll go into our discussion about the Bible study we're going to do, and then at the end I'll share with you what it is that I don't know why I have such a hard time remembering the name of that software. What Midjourney came up with for our painting. So what do we want to paint? Give me a couple ideas here. I might just meld them together if they're way all over the board. You can give me like one term. You can give me a scene. You can give me whatever you want. What do we want to throw into our Sunday Funday artwork that we're going to ask Midjourney to create for us? And I would just keep going and let you kind of chime those in as we go through the Bible study, but I need to put the terms in and let it be working. Ooh, Jesus in Gethsemane. All right. That's an interesting one. I got to make sure I spell Gethsemane right. Hope you spelled it right because I'm copying yours. All right, what else we got? Can be fun, silly, goofy. It can be like my cookie bee, or it can be something, you know, serious like Jesus in Gethsemane, or it can be just, you know, whatever comes to mind. All right, Will's going with a river of roses of rainbow colors. All right, so imagine roses of rainbow colors. All right. Seeing no other suggestions, I'll wait a moment longer in case somebody's typing. Otherwise, we'll go right into I've got the software going. It won't take long, but we'll just let it finish up while I'm doing our devotional time, and then I'll come back and share with you what it found or what it made here. All right, no more people have any more answers here. All right. So, excuse me. With that said, let me switch over to our other slide. I can figure out where I am. Oh yeah, a little confused. The slide was the Bumblebee Cookie Monster, so that was throwing me off. All right, first I want us to look at tonight while I wait for that software to create us two new artworks there. Is that idea of beauty we saw in Psalm 90, kind of taking that idea of, you know, God being a beautiful God, and then taking a look at what Ecclesiastes tells us in verse 3, verse 11 of chapter 3, when it says, "He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he has set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. That's there's a lot packed into this, and Ecclesiastes chapter 3 is kind of one of those chapters. It's challenging to understand. It's challenging to kind of grasp what all he's saying, especially Ecclesiastes in general, because Solomon's going through all these different things, these ideas of how to find happiness, and then he keeps going, but that doesn't work. That doesn't bring me happiness. At the end, everything was vanity or emptiness. And here in Ecclesiastes 3:11, I just love the phrasing here. It says he's made everything beautiful in his time. And so I want to kind of focus, on this idea, that throughout the book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon is saying, there's so many things that people search after, seek after, to find happiness, to find meaning, to find something of enjoyment in this life, and it's hard to find. And if you think about it, that is the gospel message in a nutshell. The fact that God made this world to be perfect. God made this world without any flaw, without any dangers. And we were placed in here to live and enjoy. And everything, when God got to the end of it, when he saw what he made, he said, at each time he made something, what did he say? It is good. It was perfect. It was exactly what it needed to be. And then there's the conflict of why aren't things like that now? And then we know the answer to that is the effects of sin. The fact that Adam and Eve chose to rebel against God. He gave them that one thing they couldn't eat, that one tree that he said, you're forbidden to eat of this. To give them that choice, that chance to say, okay, we're going to follow God because we want to, because we love him, because we're thankful for all he's given to us, or are we going to follow him just because we don't have any other choice? And so he gave them this choice, and they chose, being tempted by Satan, to take that tree and say, yeah, we want to be like God. We want to be more than what we are. We want to be like him and equal to him. And they chose to do that. And it's the effect of that sin that causes all the problems that we have. The fact that we have conflict in our lives is because of sin. Not always because of sin that we did, but just the fact that sin exists in the world today. Because our world is a fallen place. It's not what God initially created it to be. It's a world that is tainted by sin. And the scripture tells us this and gives us that picture all throughout it. And it's also giving us the thing that God is making that right. God knew when he put mankind in the garden that man was going to choose his own way. He was going to fall. He was going to fall short. He wasn't going to be able to be obedient. And God said, you know what? I'm going to create him anyway. And I'm going to create a plan. And I'm going to send Jesus to die on the cross to take the punishment of their sin so that I can take their sins away. And then they can, again, be in my presence, which they'll lose when they choose sin over obedience. And he was making that plan. And he was making everything beautiful. He was making everything what it needs. God's in the process of making everything what it needs to be. You realize when you accepted Christ as your Savior, he made you beautiful. He made you perfect. We're like, oh, he didn't make me perfect. Yeah, I can attest to that. I'm certainly not perfect in the sense that we think of perfect. But he does say he made me righteous. And that's what that means. He gives me his righteousness. Again, but Paul writes in 2 Corinthians, he made him who knew no sin to be sin for us, that we might be made the righteousness of God in him. He made us righteous. He made us beautiful. He made us acceptable to him. He was working that whole plan. And when Jesus died on the cross, when he rose from the grave, he was continuing to work that plan to make everything right, to make everything back to what it should be. The beauty that was in the garden, he says, I'm restoring that. And the good news is we're not quite there yet. He hasn't rid this world of the effects of sin yet. He hasn't rid this world of the conflict that we have and the result of the fact that we live in a fallen world. We still have all those. We still have wars. We still have nature still has its challenges and problems. When we work the gardens, we still have thorns and difficulty, the things that didn't exist before that. Those things still happen because there's still sin in the world. But he's made us who put our trust in him to be perfect, to be sinless, to be righteous, if you will, in spite of our sin, in spite of the fact that we still struggle, and let him, the Holy Spirit, continue to grow us and change us in terms of our actions and our obedience to him. But he's making us beautiful. He has made us beautiful. That's the beauty of it. When you accept him as your Savior, he made you righteous. Now he's continuing to perfect you, continuing to work in you to make you more like him. And one day he will take us to be like him. And the Bible says, then we shall be like him. He will complete that picture. He's working in your life to make you exactly what you need to be. And that's the beauty of it. He's making everything beautiful in his time. Some translations say in its time, meaning referring to the thing that he's working on. But either way, he's already started that process. He put a process in place to fix what's wrong with our world. I mentioned before how beautiful this world can be, and how we see things all around us. We look at it and go, wow, that's beautiful. Maybe it's a sunset. You just got to stop and go, that's beautiful. To me, that's just the God saying, look how beautiful things can be. Look how I made everything. And then sometimes we look at things and go, my goodness, that's horrible. Can you believe what's there? That's the effect of sin. That's the effect of living in a fallen world. He's making everything back to what it needs to be. And we're in the midst of that process. And sometimes that's ugly. And sometimes we have to go through that. But he's going to make everything beautiful in his time. And that's what I want us to focus on here. First of all, is he made everything. Notice that first little part of that sentence, he hath made everything. Before we even go any further, just stop right there. That's how we know he can make everything beautiful, because he made it all in the first place. He's the one that made it all. In John 1, when John's describing Jesus, it says, through him were all things made, and without him nothing was made that has been made. He says he made everything we see. He made it. That's why you can trust him to make that whatever it is situation into something beautiful. He can take our mess, he can create something beautiful out of it, because he's the one that made everything in the first place. Notice also he says beautiful in his time. He is he's made everything to sprout, if you will. It's like a flower that may not look that pretty when it's just growing up. And so a lot of times you look in the yard like, wow, there's a bunch of weeds out there. And you wait a few weeks longer, next thing you know, there's all these beautiful blooms. Like, well, those weren't weeds, those were flowers. Well, same thing, I guess. Depends on where your perspective is. The only difference in a weed and a flower. And that's the thing, is he's taking things that we may not see the beauty in, and he's making it into something. You might be that weed at the moment. You might be looking at yourself going, there's nothing here. I don't have anything to offer. I don't have anything good going on. And God says, oh no, I'm making you into what I want you to be. He's making you beautiful in his time, on his timetable, when he's ready, at the right time, at the appropriate time. That word beautiful is sometimes translated appropriate. Some translations say he has made everything appropriate in his time. Meaning it's the right thing for the right place at the right time. Ever seen that? Someone's just like, you're just right in the right moment. That's like those sunsets. Sometimes you just have to be right at the right angle, right at the right spot, at the right time of day, when the sun's at a certain point, to come through the clouds and the atmosphere at a certain point, to boom, all these colors pop out. You have to be right there at the right spot. That's what he's doing in your life. He's working everything the right time, the right place to be beautiful, to be what it needs to be. Notice what else it says. He has set the world in their heart. We can spend all night talking about that. I won't try to go into it a lot. This is a passage that people disagree on what he's saying and what is he's trying to convey here. But basically what he's saying, he's placed things in our hearts. That word world sometimes is interpreted, is translated as the word eternity. So some translations say he has set eternity in their heart. And the idea is that God has placed something within us that's looking around us. Whether it's looking at eternity and the concept of time, we saw that painting about the time and relativity and all that, or whether it's the world and science and looking at things, there's a curiosity we have. And we want to know more about what this world is like. And is time travel possible? And are there different dimensions and all these different ideas that we have? Those thoughts, those ideas, those questions, those things we like to try to entertain and think out. Those things came from God. Those interests, those desires came from him. He set it in our heart to wonder what it is about us. He gave us a curiosity about the world around us and about eternity and about time. I've done a fair amount of reading from I'm drawing a blank on the name, Stephen Hawking, one of the world-renowned theoretical physicists. You've probably heard the name. He was a paraplegic, was in a wheelchair for many years, had to control things with his mouth, but he was recognized as being just a brilliant thinker. And he had some disease that caused his motor skills to just degenerate fast. He knew early on in his life that was happening. But anyway, he was considered to be a brilliant thinker. And I've read some of his writings, and he wrote a lot. He was a very prolific writer. And if you read some of his earlier writings, and I may have shared it before, if I have, I apologize. If you read some of his earlier writings, he's one of those people that really thinks a lot about time and space. That's why he's a theoretical physicist, because he's contemplating what's out in outer space. And then, obviously we can do a lot of experimentation there until you send some people or satellites or whatever. But he's contemplating a lot of these different things like black holes and the kind of stuff that kind of makes my head go. But so I read some of his stuff, and as you look early on in his writings, you can tell he was really curious about this idea of, is there a God? Is there a creator? And unfortunately, as he goes through his life, he reached the end of his life, and he was a well-known atheist by the time he passed away. And he came to the conclusion that there was no room for God in the answers that he had come up with as he's looking at this. But if you look at some of his earlier writings about his theories and things like that, he'll make these postulations and say, oh, so-and-so came with this idea, and this might be the case. And if we follow that train of thought all the way back to this point in time, there had to be something creating it. And then he goes on to say, and because of that problem, we tried to think of other solutions. And so they kept coming up with other ideas, like how could this happen without that being there? He was curious about whether there was a God or not. Unfortunately, he came to what I conclusion. The conclusion that they came to initially, one of the faster answers they arrived at was there had to be something that spurred this, in their mind, that big bang, that the start of whatever it is they're looking at. There had to be something that started all of that. And I'm like, wow, you're right there at the truth. You're right there at what Genesis tells us is God spoke and it happened, and yet kind of just turned away. But there was still that desire to know what's out there. How does all this stuff work? God gave us that heart, that desire. You know why? So that no man can find out the work that God maketh from beginning to end. He says he wants us to realize that we can't understand all the stuff that God understands. There are things out there that are beyond our comprehension. There are things out there that are beyond our ability to grasp. And yes, God has allowed us to learn a lot of things. We've made a lot of advances. Obviously, a lot of things we know now, thousands of years ago, would have been considered like science fiction. Like, what? No way. It's amazing. But yet there's still so much more that we don't understand and we don't know. And God's saying that's how it ought to be. That we can't understand the mind of God. We're not as big as he is. We can't create what he can create. We can make a lot of amazing things, but with the knowledge God's given us, but we can't do what God can do. And that's what he's saying. He's put that in our heart so that we realize who God is and who we are not. Why? Because he is making everything beautiful. He's the one that's working it. And going back to our message this morning, if we're going to do any work, it needs to be God doing it because he's the one that knows what he's doing. He's the one that has shown that he has the only one with the ability to do those amazing things. I just wanted that to be your thought today. That God is working in your life. He's making things beautiful. It may not seem beautiful right now, but he's at work. Let him. He's at work. Give it to him. And that's just what I wanted to challenge you with. All right, I want to give us our pictures here. I got to figure out a way to present these. Hang on, give me just a second to see where we had two artworks we want to do. One was Jesus in Gethsemane, and one was a river of roses of rainbow colors. So and what happens when I put this in the software is it gives me four options to choose from. Then you can work from one or the other. So what I will do is I'll just share that screen. Oh, it's already up there. Oh, that's neat. I had no idea that was going to pop up there on the screen for you. Okay, we'll do the second one first. I don't know if you saw the other one, but while I was still trying to figure out what I was doing, let's see if I can make that larger. Oh, yeah. Look, Chuck showing his skills here. Every once in a while, I can make the computer do what I want it to. So, Will, here is you put the term up there, a river of roses of rainbow colors. What do y'all think about that? Let me actually just I just realized you guys probably couldn't hear me. I don't know if you could or not. So I don't think when I have my picture off of the screen that my audio is coming through. So if you couldn't hear me at that last one, I was talking about how that was, those were some pretty drawings on that last one. The River of Roses was pretty, and there were 4 of them because that's what the software gives us. Yeah, so that, again, that's a computer's idea of what that looked like, and I thought it was pretty impressive. This particular one I'm not quite as impressed with. I don't know, just maybe it's just not how I envision Jesus. Now I do like the bottom left part here, like half of this, what I would consider to be number 3 here, the half where he's turned away, looks like he may be on the ground praying. That one I kind of like, it's got the kind of a robe there. But the others, I don't know, not quite as impressed with the outcome on this one. But what do you guys think? You like any of these? Also kind of surprised by the top one there. It looks like he's kind of in a modern day jacket there. It kind of ruins the effect for me. Like, pretty sure they didn't wear something like that. This is our Jesus in Gethsemane. The second one there, top right, I don't know. It looks like he's got something wrong with his eye, like he might have got punched or something. Well, it looks like Keanu Reeves. I think you're right. I think the computer AI that's generating this must have Keanu Reeves pegged as what Jesus looks like. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go back if I can. Yeah, Darlene, not as impressed with this one either. Yeah, I was really hoping it would give us a better shot. Although, to be honest, if we went, let me see if I can do this. Oh, I'm doing the wrong one. Yikes, hang on. If we do the left half of this is what I was talking about a while ago. I do kind of like that one with him looking away. You got the trees in the background, the light coming through. So yeah, if you just get rid of the guy in the little overcoat, I'm not quite sure what that's about. You get rid of that and go with the part that's on the left of that. I don't mind that so much. That's kind of neat. But yeah, the Keanu Reeves in an overcoat, not so much impressed there. Let me try to get out of this real quick, and we will end back at this one. We'll end with Will's River of Roses of Rainbow Colors. And nobody told me which one they like best out of these 4. So, but anyway, remember that verse. He had made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he has set the world in their heart so that man cannot find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. We can't understand the beauty of God, but we can still admire it. We know it's there. And so that's God's at work in your life. That's what I want you to be thinking about. Everybody says, I was expecting maybe Jesus praying at the rock. See, that's what I was kind of thinking too. Oh, thinking combine the two. Interesting. Let's see if it has time to do that. Imagine, all right, Jesus praying at the rock, River of Roses in rainbow colors flowing around the rock. And we're done. If anybody doesn't want to see what this painting, the last picture comes out as, that's okay. I think it'd be interesting to see. I didn't think about that, Darlene, combining those terms there. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Beauty is one of those things that's based on perception, but one day we're going to see the beauty of God with our own eyes. We're going to experience it. And I have a feeling it's going to blow our minds. Like, we're not even going to say, wow, I never even envisioned how beautiful that could be. And that's what he's doing in our lives. We can't even imagine what God's about to do with your life, with your situation, with what you're going through. And that's the beauty of it. Just trust in that. Put your faith and trust in that. All right, we're done. I've got a couple more seconds here on this picture. I'll put it up on the screen if you want to stick around and see our Jesus praying at the rock with a river of roses and background colors flowing around the rock. You want to see what the computer comes up with for that? Stick around. If not, hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week. And I'm at 75% here. It's almost done. I don't know. One of these actually looks like it might. Oh, it's done. All right. Let me just get it up here and stop talking about it. Boom. There we are. So I don't know. The bottom right one there is kind of interesting. You know, you don't see a lot of him. The one in the bottom left I kind of like with him off in the distance, but the rocks rainbow thing just kind of throws me off a little bit because it was like a pile of red rocks. I'm not so impressed with that. Top right is okay. You got those flowers around. He is in a garden. Yeah. So yeah, let me know what you think. Would you hang any of these in your wall? Merging the two together. Darlene's Jesus in Gethsemane idea with Will's river of rainbow colors, roses of rainbow colors. And all right, that is it. Will says he likes the bottom too. Yep, I like those. So yeah. So anyway, that is artwork. You can think it's beautiful or you can not, but the joy of the thing is God is making all things beautiful. When God makes something beautiful, it is totally beautiful. And so that's what I'm excited about, what he's doing in our lives. And hope you have a wonderful week. If I can be of any help to you, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Give me a call, text message, phone, Facebook message, whatever works best for you. Love you guys, and we will talk next week.